W.B. Yeats's Byzantium was first published in 1930 and later anthologized in a volume called The Winding Stairs and Other Poems. Byzantium was written in a way in response to Sturge Moore's objections regarding the last stanza, the fourth stanza of Sailing to Byzantium, published for the first time in 1926 and anthologized as the head poem of The Tower. The Winding Stair has a very dull and dark atmosphere as compared to The Tower, which gives us a picture of sunlight in the afternoon. The Tower was published when Yeats was at the height of his career. The Winding Stairs was published while Yeats's health was declining. He had suffered severe illness and was even afraid of death. Sturge Moore thought that Sailing to Byzantium had failed as a poem because Yeats wanted the consummation of his experience in something that is out of nature, something that is not bodily, something that is not physical. But he said that even a golden bird is a thing made. It is not something that does not exist. So how could a work of art be the consummation of a person's life? Let us read Byzantium, in which he tries to answer the question or the issues raised by Sturge Moore in his response to Sailing to Byzantium. Byzantium. The unpurged images of day recede, the emperor's drunken soldiery are abed. Night resonance recedes, night walker's song, after great cathedral gong, a starlit or a moonlit dome disdains all that man is, all mere complexities, the fury and the mire of human veins. While reading Byzantium, you get the same feeling of Yeats trying to express something that is inexpressible. So you have a congeries of images through which Yeats tries to suggest his experience. What is this experience? Yeats is imagining himself in afterlife, imagining himself as a spirit, not as a body. And so he is talking about what he called hodos chameleontos, that is the chameleon way. People like Raman Maharshi or other mystics, William Blake for instance, tell us about sights and sounds they hear which we as common people don't. And Yeats is talking somewhat like these mystical poets. Kabir, for instance, used the same kind of language. That is, he talked about sights and sounds which we don't hear or don't see. Yeats is imagining himself as a spirit after death. The unpurged images of day recede, the emperor's drunken soldiery are abed. night resonance recedes, night walker's song after great cathedral gong. Now, even though the center, the backdrop of his poem is Byzantium, it is the emperor's palace rather than Hagia Sophia, the cathedral of Hagia Sophia. Yeats had been to Ravenna and Sicily, where he had seen the Byzantine marbles. That was in 1907 and 1925. He visited Sicily in 1925 and Ravenna in 1907. And these two Byzantium poems are definitely a byproduct, in a way, of his seeing the Byzantine mosaics. The unpurged images of day recede, the emperor's drunken soldiery are abed. Soldiers, notice, he suggests they are drunk. The drunken soldiery are abed. The soldier who is drunk, and soon you find night resonance recedes. Night walker's song. Who are these night walkers? This is probably an euphemism for the prostitutes. So you have here creatures, the soldiers, who are entirely, symbolizing the body. What does the body need? The body needs food and it needs sex. And that is the body in its most essential form. The unpurged. Why does he call the body unpurged? You would soon read in his poetry, you must have seen it in many places, that he compares the human body as a mummy. You have cloth wrapped around it, as you have in a bobbin, as you have in a reel. A tailor would show you what a bobbin is, if not your mother. The unpurged images of day recede, the emperor's drunken soldiery are abed. The unpurged images, these are not bodies, these are spirits. So they are images, they are no longer human bodies, the unpurged images, but they are not as yet purged of everything. They are not as yet clean. In 1925, Yeats published a work called A Vision. This work was a result of his 7 years experience in what is called automatic writing or the supernatural. And he talks about it in this book. This is the 1933 edition of his book, A Vision. But knowledge of the past is not sufficient. The second stage contains, in addition to the dreaming back and the return, what is called the phantasmagoria, which exists to exhaust not nature, not pain and pleasure, but emotion, and is the work of teaching spirits. The physical and moral life is completed without the addition of any new element, that the objects of hope may be completed, for only that which is completed can be known and dismissed. Only that which is completed can be known and dismissed. And these souls relive their experience that they had lived in their past. In Hindu philosophy, there is this concept of Pitri Sharir and Matri Sharir. So at death, it is only the Matri Sharir, the body that you see is dead, dies. But the Pitri Sharir lives with all its sanskaras. Yeats is telling us something similar. Houses appear built by thought in a moment. The spirit seems to eat, drink and smoke. The child appears to grow to maturity, or perhaps with the help of teaching spirits, a Christmas tree is created. Christ or some saint or angel descends, dressed as in statue or picture. If the life was evil, then the phantasmagoria is evil. The criminal completes his crime. It is indeed a necessary act of the human soul that has cut off the incarnate and discarnate from one another, plunging the discarnate into our unconsciousness. The phantasmagoria completes not only life but imagination. The phantasmagoria completes not only life but imagination. So, when he is talking about the unpurged images, he is talking about, as it were, the Pitri Sharir, which carries the sanskaras of life that it has gathered. And if he has to, if the spirit has to get rid, and the spirit must get rid of all these sanskaras before it can receive beatitude. And this beatitude Yeats describes with reference to Agrippa in a vision. Cornelius Agrippa was son-in-law of Augustus, and he lived about the time of Jesus, around 63 to 12 BC. Cornelius Agrippa speaks of those among the dead who imagine themselves surrounded by flames and persecuted by demons, and according to his 17th century translator, confers upon them the name hobgoblin. The various legends of spirits that appear under the impulse of moral and emotional suffering must be attributed to this state and not to the dreaming back, where the constraint is physical. I think of a girl in a Japanese play whose ghost tells a priest of the slight sin, if indeed it was sin, which seems great because of her exaggerated conscience. She is surrounded by flames, and though the priest explains that if she but ceased to believe in those flames, they would cease to exist. Believe she must, and the play ends in an elaborate dance, the dance of her agony. Yeats is putting into verse some of this kind of experience that he describes in a vision. The unpurged images of day recede, the emperor's drunken soldiery are abed, night resonance recedes, night walker's song after great cathedral gong. Notice, Yeats is immensely interested in the relationship of the physical, the material on the one hand, and the spiritual and the metaphysical on the other. The images that you have here of the drunken soldiery, of the night walker's song, they all received after great cathedral gong. The gong, the sound that you get in a Buddhist monastery, this makes all these physical facts, life of in the body, recede into the background. A starlit or a moonlit dome disdains all that man is, all mere complexities, the fury and the mire of human veins. You have veins in your body, and yet thinks of the fury and the mire of human veins. Mire is dust, is kicchad. A starlit or a moonlit dome disdains, probably he is thinking of the cathedral of Hagia Sophia. A starlit or a moonlit dome disdains all that man is. The dome of a work of art, such as Hagia Sophia is, disdains man. It was created by man, and yet it disdains man. Notice this Yeats's fascination for things of art, objects of art and objects of life. In 1913, Yeats wrote two poems, sister poems, which were called The Magi and The Dolls. In the Magi, you have the Magi who are purged of all emotions, and they want to become human beings once again, so that they may enjoy the complexities of life. In the dolls, which was both written on the 20th of September 1913, in the dolls in a doll maker's house scream with scorn when they hear the doll maker's baby's noise, because they find it very impudent, very ugly, very downgrading to be with such a child, such an infant. A doll in the doll maker's house looks at the cradle and bawls. That is an insult to us, but the oldest of all the dolls who had seen being kept for show generations of this sort outscreams the whole shelf. Although there is not a man can report evil of this place, the man and the woman bring hither to our disgrace a noisy and filthy thing. The man and the woman bring hither to our disgrace a noisy and filthy thing. Hearing him groan and stretch, the doll maker's wife is aware her husband has heard the wretch, and crouched by the arm of his chair, she murmurs into his ear, a starlit or a moonlit dome disdains all that man is, all mere complexities, the fury and the mire of human veins. Man is mere complexities. Before me floats an image, man or shade, shade more than man, more image than a shade. And in the next stanza, you have miracle, bird or golden handiwork, more miracle than bird or handiwork. Before me floats an image, man or shade, shade more than man, more image than a shade. Yeats is probably talking about the spirits, about these pitri of the dead. For Hades, bobbin bound in mummy cloth, may unwind the winding path. The soul has to get rid of these experiences by reliving them, not by running away from them. Just as you read what he wrote in A Vision about a girl in a Japanese play who saw fire coming everywhere. For Hades, bobbin bound in mummy cloth, may unwind the winding path. A mouth that has no moisture and no breath, breathless mouths may summon. I hail the superhuman, I call it death in life and life in death. A mouth that has no moisture and no breath. It is different from a living being, as you and I. Breathless mouths may summon, I hail the superhuman. Yeats is talking about a different kind of experience. I hail the superhuman, I call it death in life and life in death. He calls these souls as superhuman. Next he shifts to miracle, bird or golden handiwork, that about which he had talked in the golden handiwork, the golden birds on boughs in some Byzantine court. Miracle, bird or golden handiwork, more miracle than bird or handiwork, planted on the starlit golden bough, can like the cocks of Hades crow, or by the moon embittered scorn aloud, in glory of changeless metal, common bird or petal, and all complexities of mire or blood. Yeats is once again describing the kind of experience that he described in the dolls, or the kind of experience that he has described above. The starlit or a moonlit dome disdains all that man is. He is talking about the same kind of experience once again. Miracle, bird or golden handiwork, more miracle than bird or handiwork, planted on the starlit golden bough, can like the cocks of Hades crow, or by the moon embittered scorn aloud, in glory of changeless metal. Here is a bird made by a human being, which is challenging nature as it were, which is scorning nature as it were, by the moon embittered scorn allowed in glory of changeless metal. Miracle bird or golden handiwork, more miracle than bird or handiwork, planted on the starlit golden bough, can like the cocks of Hades crow, or by the moon embittered scorn allowed in glory of changeless metal, common bird or petal, and all complexities of mire or blood. At midnight on the emperor's pavement flit, Yeats goes back to the scene at the outset of the poem. At midnight on the emperor's pavement flit, flames that no faggot feeds nor steel has lit, flames nor storm disturbs, flames begotten of flames, where blood begotten spirits come. The spirits are blood begotten. The spirits were once in life. So life, as it were, has emitted, has ejected the spirit. But the fire that Yeats sees on the emperor's pavement is not begotten by life. It is begotten by fire. Yeats was immensely interested in Kabbalistic writings, just as he got interested in theosophy and Hindu philosophy and Buddhism, in all kinds of esoteric ideas. And there, in Kabbalistic philosophy, he talks about two pillars, a pillar of water and a pillar of fire. And he narrates that whenever he saw images of water, soon there would follow his poems on sex. And whenever he saw these images of fire, what would follow was supernatural experiences. In the fourth stanza, he is describing that kind of fire. At midnight on the emperor's pavement flit, flames that no faggot feeds nor steel has lit, nor storm disturbs. The storm cannot disturb this flame. So this is not material flame, this is supernatural flame. Flames begotten of flame, where blood begotten spirits come. The spirits are blood begotten, but flames are independent, just as God is independent of us. And all complexities of fury leave, dying into a dance, an agony of trance, an agony of flame that cannot singe a sleeve. Astraddle on the dolphin's mire and blood, spirit after spirit, the smithies break the flood, the golden smithies of the emperor, marbles of the dancing floor. Just now, you had the fire on the pavement of the emperor's palace. Now you have a scene of the sea. Astraddle on the dolphin's mire and blood, spirit after spirit. Astraddle on the dolphin's mire and blood, spirit after spirit. One spirit after spirit is sitting on the back of the dolphin to be conveyed to the Isle of the Blessed. The smithies break the flood, the golden smithies of the emperor. The verb break has several objects, but they are confused in Yeats's syntactical pattern. The golden smithies of the emperor, marbles of the dancing floor, break bitter furies of complexity, those images that yet fresh images beget, that dolphin torn, that gong tormented sea. You had the gong in the first stanza, and the gong reappears here. Those images that yet fresh images beget, that dolphin torn, that gong tormented sea. The dolphin torn, the dolphin tears the sea apart, that gong tormented sea, and the gong is a symbol of spirituality. The gong is an audial symbol of spirituality, just as the fire is the visual symbol of spirituality. So here, once again, Yeats enters into some kind of abstraction or into pure abstraction. Sturge Moore's objection to sailing to Byzantium was that the solution was not to be found in a running away from life, in objects of art, which he thought was also physical. Yeats, in answering him, created a still more metaphysical image, a still more spiritual image, a still more ghostly image, a still more eidetic image. An eidolon is an image which has a hallucinatory quality, and yogis talk about sights and sounds which have this hallucinatory quality, and Yeats is talking about them. He is making raids on the inexpressible. In the Tractatus, Wittgenstein had said towards the end of it that we must not try to express, that is not our field, that is inexpressible, but it is that which Yeats is doing here. Philosophers try to understand reality, poets, as it were, express them. Thank you.